Welcome back to the table and a little bit more of our On the Road to Gen Con coverage.
Yeah.
We've been getting so many things that are going to be available at Gen Con, so many things that are going to be demoed at Gen Con, one of which is the expansion to Ark Nova. We've had some content up on the channel of this before, but we didn't have it. Now we have it in our grubby little hands.
And we had some speculation, some of which turned out to be true, and some of which was way off.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you watched our little preview video, you know kind of some of the things that are coming with this expansion. But I want to say before we start, yes, this is all of it right here. All of this comes with the expansion. And they've done a lot of cool things here. First of all, yeah, they did, marine worlds. They added all this marine life.
Yeah.
Sure. But I love that they also did a lot of just quality adjustments for the game.
Yeah.
They've introduced some new things people were asking for. They've cleaned up some of the graphic design. And they've reprinted a bunch of cards.
Oh, yeah.
To reflect that, which, I mean, first of all, just off the gate, that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, the fact that they have these replacement cards here. Here's a bunch of replacement cards. We've got replacement conservation projects,
Even the base cards, they gave a new set of base cards for every player just to represent some of the new iconography and wording changes that they made in the game.
Yeah,
that's huge.
It is really cool, and there's a lot going on here. In fact, we're not going to be able to even give you all the information because we're looking through the glossary because there's quite a few new, powers and terms introduced that we were like, well, what's this mean? We'd look it up and like, oh, wow, that's cool. There are some really cool things going on here, and we have all of the pieces and parts of it here on center stage, here on the table. I want to start with sort of the easiest one, but I think it's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
So each player has bits now. So they've replaced sort of the three main player markers for the different things that you're going to be putting on the main board, but also, the little cubes that you'd put on the 7 spaces or so on the side of your player board. They gave a little flavor to those.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
cute.
has a little animal. There's like a red little, I assume this is like a fox. It looks like
some
a
kind
fox.
of predator, yeah.
Fox, monkeys.
Penguins.
Which, the penguins are nice too. A nice little touch. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, like Ryan said, it's not just things that make it the marine world. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, and so that's new thing. There's a couple quick things too. They introduced some new final scoring cards and some new project cards, conservation project cards. These are going to reflect some of the new things that were introduced in the expansion, so you will have a chance to score some of those things. And in addition, just some new styles of cards, some types of cards here for conservation projects that we've never seen before that actually require you to interact with them in a very different way. And I think that's really cool. And again, the final scoring cards, these will just get mixed into your base deck when you play the game. And there's a ton of new zoo cards as well. Of course, a bunch of new project cards that work kind of the same way. But I think that these animal cards are really what changes up the expansion.
Yeah, I mean, this is all the new animal cards. You can see here on the left, there's a few cards that are normal animals that you'd expect from the base game. But these are all aquarium animals, fish that have to go in aquariums and whatnot.
Fish, octopuses,
all
sharks,
sorts of different marine life.
Turtles.
Some of these have that icon on them. What was that called?
Yeah, that's
Reef?
the reef icon. This is something cool that they've introduced. A lot of these, and they actually this is a scientific thing, which I thought was really cool looking at these. These are creatures that make up reefs or live in reefs. And as you add these coral reefs to your board, you're adding these animals in just like normal. But anytime you play a card with a reef icon, it triggers all of your cards with reef icons.
Yeah.
So if you kind of double down on reefs and get a bunch of reef animals, then you're going to be triggering those bonuses a lot. However, there's a caveat, and this is something also brand new for the expansion. Those water creatures cannot live in standard enclosures. They have to go in aquariums. And you'll see here that we have 2 new types of buildings, a small aquarium and a large aquarium. You can only have one of each. It still follows the same building rules.
So that is what, 7 spaces?
7 spaces. So you are limited in the number of these fish that you can put in your aquarium. So you have to be very strategic about which ones you want to add.
Well, you're also limited just by the sheer fact that there's just this many cards. And now that's quite a bit. However, if you're watching this video, you've played Ark Nova, there's a giant stack of these cards that this is going into. So the chances of getting a bunch of those reef cards to begin with is probably slim.
However, they've addressed that. And we talked about this in our preview video as well. They've a bunch of new cards that are going to have the ability, first of all, this wave icon that's going to just kind of keep flushing the row. So every time a fish comes out, you're adding more and more cards to the row every time. And there's cards that will let you just go from the top of the deck until you find something. So if you're looking for one of these underwater cards, you can just keep searching for them. But they also introduced a new university. So, and this is cool too, because we speculated on this.
This is huge.
We were like, where are they going to put this new university token? They actually give you a fully new board that fits this token. And this is kind of a random one. There's the same 3 that you're used to seeing, but the person that takes this 4th one gets to choose one of these 6 tokens to add to their zoo, and you will get to search through the deck until you find a particular animal. So this is always a guaranteed way. If you're short a monkey, if you're short an underwater creature, you can take this and guaranteed to draw one. Now, it might not be the one you want, but you will get one for sure.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think that's probably, with games like this, one of the big complaints is always like trying to cycle through that deck and find the things you want. In terms of other tokens, we've got these new bonus tokens as well. Now, I want to point out a couple things. There's one replacement token, which, again, is a nice touch. They changed this in a specific way that represents like these 3 tokens here. You see these 3, all of these are new. These happen immediately, just like you'd expect. These new ones, plus the reprint one, happen, you take the token, but you don't do it immediately. You don't necessarily do it immediately. It's a flip this over and use it when you want to, which is huge.
And that's huge, especially for the replacement one. The replacement one is to play a project card from your hand by paying money for it, which that was almost a throwaway in the base game because you had to, when you hit that, you also had to have the card in your hand and you had to have the money.
Perfect timing.
You had to have perfect timing. Now you can take it and save it for that exact moment, along with these other 3. I think that's a cool new addition, something that they've really thought about. And the fact, again, that they did go back and reprint this token is a really positive thing.
No, it looks like they took into consideration a lot of feedback and a lot of, continued play with the game for sure. I think the big star, though, that we've mentioned in our preview video, and we'll dig into a little more here, are the new action cards. The new action cards, I have 4 of them here just for the animal action. He's got the rest of them. The way this works is everyone's going to get their standard action cards, again, that have been reprinted and tweaked out a little bit. But then everyone's going to shuffle this deck up. You're going to get 3 of these, and you're going to do a draft around the table so that you're going to replace, ultimately, 2 of your action cards with these unique ones. And they have 4 of each type. So I've got the 4 animals here, and each of these are different. As you can see, these icons in the upper left-hand part of the card kind of has the icon, but then it explains it down below. And I'm just going to tell you some of these animal ones because it's pretty cool, and it incorporates some of the new terms. There's one here that has the hunter icon, which I believe lets you go through.
You just draw cards from the deck, and you get to choose one to keep and discard the rest, which is something we've seen before, but never on a card like this.
Right. Then there's another one that says the first animal you play costs 2 less, and then when you flip that over, it's additionally for each animal you play, you may pay 2 to gain 1 point. Appeal. Which is crazy. Is there anything in the base game that lets you just pay for appeal like that?
Not really, no.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Then this one introduces a new piece of turn.
A new power. It's called marking a card. And you get to put one of your cubes out on a card in the row. You're basically calling dibs on that card.
Kind of.
Other players can take it, but if they do take it, you get 2 coins. However, if anybody ever discards that card, or if it shuffles out at the end, if it gets pushed all the way off, you just get it.
Yeah.
You just get it.
Not to mention, on the flip side of that card, it says if you've marked a card and then you play that card from the row, you also get to go up the track, which is amazing.
The reputation track.
Yeah, the reputation track. And then the last one, I think this is probably the one that we thought was the most powerful.
Is this the shark attack one?
No, this is the one. If you play only one animal at power 5, you may ignore 1 condition, and the flip side lets you ignore that condition if you play one and only one animal at level 3 or higher.
That's really powerful. You can ignore the condition even that requires you to have an upgraded animal card. So you can play some of those really powerful animals early if you have that upgrade card. The Shark Attack one, I wasn't sure which card has that, but it actually lets you get rid of an animal in the row and then gain half of its appeal as your own score. So some of those giant animals that are worth like 14 points, you can eat them and get like 7 appeal on the appeal track.
That's pretty sweet.
If you've played Ark Nova enough, you know, like you're probably chomping at the bit to get your hands on these cards because they feel so powerful. It's just like any game like that. You think you know the rules, and all of a sudden you get a cabinet a card that says, this rule doesn't apply to you. Or you get to break this rule. Or you get to just do this thing so much better than everybody else. And the fact that you're going to be drafting these, and you're going to end up with a hand of 3, and you're going to choose 2 to make up your final. So you'll have 3 regular cards and 2 upgraded cards.
It's just going to feel
cool.
awesome every time you use your unique cards. It takes, in the base game, it really was just your zoo board that was unique and gave you that feeling of variable power. This, I think, is going to surpass that in terms of making people feel like, oh, wow, this is very unique to my game.
There was a whole aspect of Ark Nova, and which I mean, one of my top games of all time, but there's a whole aspect where the game doesn't get interesting until you flip your first card. Once you get your first level 2 card, then you're like, now I'm doing stuff. This lets you start right from the beginning. You're playing a card that's like, yeah, this is good. I don't need to wait until I start flipping things.
Yeah, this is a lot of cool content. Again, this is going to be for demo at Gen Con, so if you find yourself at Gen Con, definitely go check it out. I think it's going to be probably an Essen release.
That's the plan. I mean, I'm hoping it comes out by then.
It's safe to say that whenever this does release, it's probably going to be one of the best-selling expansions in a long time.
This is one that you're going to want to pre-order. If you have the chance to pre-order it, if you want this game to guaranteed pre-order, because I have a feeling it's going to be selling out like crazy, and it's going to end up being one of those games that's very hard to find.
I bet they'll print a few.
I know they will, and I wouldn't be surprised if they sold out of their print run, honestly.
And also, if you go to Gen Con, be sure to, if you see us, flag us down, say hello. It's going to be a fun week. We are really excited for it. Even though we've been doing a lot of content for it, we can hardly tell that it's coming, but it's literally coming in just a few days from when we're recording this.
We've covered more games during this road to Gen Con, I think, than we ever have in years past, and I still feel like we just hit the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we hope that you've enjoyed that content. Let us know down in the comments below, and of course, if you have any questions about this that we didn't cover, join us on our Discord, and we will probably post a few more pictures than you saw even in this video.
We'll show you all these cool cards.
You maybe some more of those cards so you can get a really good flavor for what's going on there. But like I said, let us know in the comments below as well. And of course, until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.
Bye.